And Diego is not anywhere near what anybody knows, man. And Diego has been an addict. He hadn't told anybody for the past 5 months. I was his sponsor, living with him, that I had to live there because he was broke and lost all his money and strung out on kratom and alcohol and 30 other substances.
He's not what you think, man. Like, I don't think people realize I was his sponsor, man. Like, I'm living with him. I'm his sponsor. He's a drug addict. He's addicted to kratom. He's an alcoholic. He's, it's like, bro, do you understand? You were his sponsor and now you just blew him up on a podcast about being an addict? Do you understand how shit that is? Like, how fucking terrible that makes you look? Yeah, I was a sponsor, bro. Okay, so, like, whatever you think about people who are addicts, okay, which clearly you don't really understand, but a lot of people do, okay? Like, a lot of people do. And an addict, or anyone who even understands that world at all, who hears a sponsor, a guy's sponsor, admit he's a guy's sponsor and then blow him up online, they're like, oh, so that guy's the biggest piece of shit on earth. Like, literally, you're the biggest piece of shit on earth. Okay, a sponsor is supposed to be your ultimate confidant, right? Like the only person that you can tell the truth to, like really tell the truth, where you're like, look, dude, like I fucked up, right? Like I really fucked up. I had this thing under control last weekend. This happened, that happened. I lost control, dude. Like I'm chipping, like I need to get this shit under control. Your sponsor is your guy or girl, right? So for a sponsor to go on a podcast and be like, yeah, I was a sponsor, and guess what? He's a total fuck up. He's a complete and total fuck up, man. He's addicted to kratom, He's an alcoholic. You guys don't get it, man. He's got serious fucking problems, bro. You're like, yeah, you have serious problems, bro. All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. The gift that keeps on giving. Joshua Fabia, he wants me to hit 25K. He's like, I can't stop talking now. Jesse's channel is growing too fast. And he seems to be the foremost authority on YouTube at making fun of me and making it really funny. So I just need to keep giving him ammo, man. I need to keep giving him ammo. He's the most supportive person I've ever had on this channel. Like everybody, like all you guys, I love all of you guys. And I don't mean to be dismissive of your guys' support. But no one is more supportive than Joshua Fabia. He's like, look, he's got a thing that's working, man. Like I'm giving him gold and he is making it hilarious and his channel is growing exponentially. I can't stop now. I need to do an exclusive interview and give him just utter gold nuggets to just light me up with. I appreciate it, Josh. Like I genuinely appreciate your dedication to my channel's growth. Thank you very much. Now, just to give you guys a little tidbit of what you're in store for with this interview that he did. Okay, so he did an exclusive interview on Behind the Scenes podcast hosted by Summer Helene. I highly suggest you guys listen to the whole thing. I'm not going to go through. It's a 30-minute interview. That he's on the back half of it. But just to give you, one snippet of many that we'll go through, but just as a teaser. Okay, so this is the kind of thing that you're going to get to hear on this podcast. Ready? Boom.
So this moment happens where the Nevada State Commission comes in and loons on Diego, and he has to throw a fucking fight. Now I have him recorded coming in, and then they
Are you saying that he was told that he has to throw this fight? They told him he has to lose this bout?
So yeah, he's just going to throw an accusation like that out there, that the Nevada State Athletic Commission, that every single fighter has dealt with for their entire career, in this one instance, just kind of broke protocol. They were like, you know what? Hey, so check this out, you guys. I put money on the other guy, the guy who's fighting against Diego. And since it's just Diego and Josh, I think we can get over on these guys, Like Joshua is the only guy. He's an outsider, man. No one's going to believe him. So let's just get in there. Let's risk our jobs and let's go in and let's tell Diego to throw this fight. Like, let's do it, man. And the other two people were like, I like that idea. Let's do it. Hang on. Let me go put 50 grand on the other guy first, since now we know obviously this fight's a lock because we're just going to go tell Diego to throw the fight 5 minutes before the fight. And of course he's going to do it. And of course he's going to do it. Wait, Joshua, go over one more time. So what leverage did they have over him? Like, so they told him to throw the fight, right? The Nevada State Athletic Commission, who does not sign his paychecks, right? Nevada State Athletic Commission doesn't sign his paychecks. So what would their leverage over him be? Because you're saying this happened 30 minutes before the fight. That's what he said. 30 minutes before the fight. You guys didn't hear that part, but 30 minutes before the fight. So what was their leverage? You know, you come up to a guy who's been training for 10 weeks, 12 weeks for a fight, who's been fighting in the UFC for, I don't know, 15, 16 years at this point. And you go, hey, look, man, I'm going to need you to go ahead and take a dive, Diego. I'm going to need you to take a dive. So what's the leverage? Did they kidnap a sibling? You know, kidnap one of his kids? Or, you know, are they like, look, and Diego's all, geez, well, what happens if I don't throw the fight? They're all, you don't want to know, bud. You don't want to know. You know what? Yeah, you do. If you don't throw this fight, I'm going to release a video that I found of you leg locking someone naked in a river. How you like them apples? He's like, oh my God, that would be so embarrassing if someone saw a video like that. If someone ever sexually exploited me, that would be so mortifying. I'm going to throw the fight, right? I'm going to throw the fight. I can't take it. I could never have that incident go public, right? So that's obviously La La Land, because in reality, they would have no leverage on him whatsoever. It's the most absurd accusation ever. Not quite as absurd as the UFC is going to kill Diego, but now, I think now we have evidence of where these ideas were coming in from. You know, when Diego, I think this organization is going to kill me. It's like, oh yeah? What else do you think? He's all, and I think I remember the Nevada State Athletic Board telling me to throw the fight. Oh, do you really? You remember that, huh? Why? Why would they do that? What possible reason would they have? So, as you heard there, they grilled Joshua on this, and they made him answer.
We're looking for a direct answer. Did they tell him he had to throw a fight?
The way that they did it is in the lean, which is in talking to somebody and dangling their license and explaining, are you really trying to hurt this man? You're not trying to hurt him, are you, Diego? You're a sportsman, Diego. You've always been a good guy, Diego. You're not going to do anything with malicious intent, are you, Diego? So you can call that the way you call it, but the Nevada State Commission's not supposed to come in 30 minutes before a fucking fight and come and kick everybody out and come and talk that type of shit to a fighter and get in their head. Then on top of it, the last time Diego was a sportsman, he was a wrestler. So the first thing he comes out and does is goes and takes this guy's leg. And he never throws a punch. So you tell me, how come my fighter that's been trained for 10 weeks to strike didn't throw a strike?
I can't tell you, but
you see now what I'm getting at. So that's
not at all.
Like, you know, so wait, hold on a second. Are you saying that the Nevada State Athletic Commission directly told Diego to throw the fight? Because obviously you guys just heard it. That is exactly what he said, right? Throw the fight, okay? So, yeah, you know, like when asked a direct question, he kind of skirts around it. You know, he won't, you tell me, you know, you tell me. They said blabbity bloop bloop, and then my fighter, who we trained for 10 weeks to throw, you know, a million strikes, he threw like 12 strikes in the whole fight. You tell me, you know, you tell me, why would he do that? And they're like, I don't know, man. Like, fighters kind of throw their game plans out the window all the time. Is that really, that's what you got? So anyway, so that here's the thing, okay? So, oh, by the way, if you like this content, subscribe and ring the bell. I can't promise that all my videos are going to be as hilarious and engaging as this kind of gold, but look, like Joshua is gold, okay? Like there is no other gold nugget like him. But I try to make all my content engaging, and if you go look at my recent videos and it looks like all I do is Diego and Josh, it's not my intention. It just happens to happen this way because this is the best topic ever. So subscribe, ring the bell, and then you'll see when I start talking about other things again. So here's the deal. So I actually started this interview, like at the beginning of the interview, when Joshua is coming in and talking. Okay, so if I haven't said this publicly recently, if I'm mean to someone, if I'm mean, right? Like, and I would say I've probably been basically objectively mean in this case when it relates to my previous videos on this topic. Like, you know, I mean, even if a guy earns it, like I was probably pretty mean, you know, I was making a lot of fun of them, right? So when I hear him talking, anytime I do that, which I don't mean to do that, it's just sometimes I just can't help myself. And every time when I hear a person that I was mean to talking, I feel guilty. I'm like, man, this is just like a regular guy. Like he sounds smart, like he sounds good intentioned. I feel like a prick. So the first 7 minutes of him talking that's how I felt. I was like, man, he's like actually, he sounds kind of smart. Like I don't know. I wish I wouldn't have gone so hard on the poor guy.
Everything in my perception of reality was that Diego Sanchez is a professional MMA fighter who is employing me to help him as he has a lot of healing necessary and wanting to change his point of view on how to do things a little differently.
And by the end of the video, I was like, oh man, I can't wait to light this guy up in another video, because he is the king of taking goodwill and lighting it on fire. Okay, so first of all, ludicrous accusations, right? That's whatever. Like, ludicrous accusations, haha, he's crazy. Now we know where Diego was getting this. But what could he do, right? What could he do that would make me just go, oh, of course. And like I said, if I was going to predict, what is Josh going to do? Jesse, what do you think he'll do if Diego breaks off the relationship? My answer would have been, well, my read on him is he'd probably go nuclear and completely throw Diego under the bus. Throw all loyalty out the window. Things that he had been told in confidence, like stuff that you would never betray if you had even a shred of integrity. I bet he would literally throw it out there as if he had never met Diego. And it was like these were rumors that he heard on the rumor mill. Every deep, dark secret that Diego's ever had, like he would probably just go public with it. That's what I would guess. And score one for Jesse on Fire, who is always right about this stuff somehow. It's as if these people are so predictable, it's almost painful. Like, it's like I look at a guy, I'm like, he has no integrity, he's not loyal, and I'm gonna make fun of him because, I just can't help myself. And then boom, they prove me right every time. So what this guy did in this interview is so reprehensible, I literally can't even believe it. But before I get into all that, let me say one thing that's really funny, okay? So one thing that the host did an exceptional job with. By the way, I will link that interview in the description, and thank you to whoever put it in my comments. That's how I found it. So one thing she did a great job of is when he was talking in circles, she kept just bringing it back and being like, dude, this is minutia. I'm asking you a direct question, okay? What happened? Like, what happened? Why did you guys break up? Stop, you're talking in circles, right? And so one of the things she keeps asking is like, what exactly happened? What led to this breakup? And he's going in circles, and she goes, okay, well, that's all great. What about his OnlyFans? And I was like, wow. And she goes, because I think a lot of people felt that you were sexually exploiting Diego. And I was like, oh, sounds like someone saw one of my videos, maybe. Did you see one of my videos? And then she was like, or like the videos of him leg locking people in a river naked. And I was like, look at this. They're quoting my video. I have a direct hand in this thing. And after hearing what he did, in this interview, I feel good about that because he's, he deserves it. But yeah, so they asked him directly about the OnlyFans, about sexually exploiting Diego. And he goes, what are you talking? Did exactly what I would have guessed. He'd be like, what are you talking about, dude? It's all just training footage. Like I said, why I didn't buy them in the first place, I was like, they're just going to be bait and switch. They're going to be saying this, they're going to be training footage, whatever. So it's just training footage. And they're like, oh yeah, they're all, what about captions like, don't you want to see that tight butt? How about that? Or like, or, oh, isn't this sexy and enticing? And that was the only time that Joshua was legit tongue-tied, like where he was like,
People are writing in, and what they're concerned about and what they're trying to address is stuff like the OnlyFans and him naked wrestling in a river. Like, that's the stuff that people are dumping on you.
What are you talking about? There's no naked wrestling in Aruba. There's no naked...
I said a river.
No one
and if
said
you
a river,
speak to me like that again, I'm going to hang up on you, man. Like, I'm being polite to you. I'm just asking for straight answers.
I don't know what you're even talking about. What? Okay,
on
ask me a
OnlyFans.
question here.
Okay. There is a perception that Diego Sanchez was not familiar with the kind of content you were putting up on OnlyFans. Is that true?
Diego knows exactly what's on there, and you can go look. It's all just training. What is the problem?
What about...
Hold on, you're saying it's just training. How do you quote these, or someone quotes them, you guys have to approve them. So this is just training. Quotes like, you like that little tight butt. What kind of training video is that exactly putting out there?
I like how you're in the media and you don't know that market. If you know the OnlyFans
you bet your
market,
ass I would never sell a fighter like that. I would never. I work for Paramount Pictures. I've worked on Guardians of the Galaxy. I've worked with fighters. I've worked for the WWE. I would never sell a fighter like that. That's why we're asking, and that's why people are concerned.
Concerned about playing with the tantalizing words to get people to look.
People feel you're sexually exploiting Diego, and I'm trying to give you a platform to say you're not. That's the feeling on the internet.
I'm not sexually exploiting him at all.
I mean, just stone caught, right? Didn't even try to pretend like he's caught, you know? And he's like, oh, so now we're getting into, if you understood the platform of OnlyFans, and she just cut him right off. She's all, hey, listen, man, I've worked in media my entire career. I would never present a fighter that way. And you want to know why she wouldn't do that? Because she has integrity, right? Like, she's a person who, I mean, clearly she's a professional. The way she handled this interview was very, very impressive. And the way that she just would cut him off, like, she just was like, no, Josh, okay? No, I'm not in your school of self-awareness. I'm an actual professional. I'm glad that you came on and you wanted to explain yourself, but I'm not going to let you do this, right? Like, if I'm going to ask you a direct question, you're going to give me a direct answer. I'm going to fucking call you out about it, okay, pal? So, yeah, so he's all, oh, so now we're getting into whatever about the linguistics of blah, blah. They're all, no, we're talking about you sexually exploiting your fighter. That's what we're talking about. So that was a huge gotcha that they got him on that he had no answers for, right? But now let's talk about the uglier part of the conversation, okay? So he, throughout the whole thing, right out of the gate, you can just feel him building up to, I'm going to blame Diego.
Diego was definitely a celebrity. You know, he had some celebrity asshole tendencies. You know, he didn't like tipping, and he did some weird stuff in front of me that, you know, threw up some red flags. But over time, just talking to him, it kind of just seemed, like I said, the celebrity stuff.
What do you mean weird stuff?
Well, I just mean things like you get a divorce and you have a child, but you get a one-bedroom condo. I'm wondering, why is he driving around a $3,000 Mercedes, right? Like, just questions that throw up flags, but I'm thinking, hey, he's telling me he's frugal, he's saving his money, he's okay.
Where you're like, I don't really understand what, like, he doesn't have any self-awareness. You're like, dude, you're not in a position to blame anyone for anything. Like, that is not the position you are in, dude. Like, you say Diego has this problem. You say Diego has that problem. You say Diego did this. You say Diego. That in no way reflects well on you, okay? Like, if you don't understand that, this is not like a, you know, good coach, manager, good whatever. This is like fundamental understanding of human beings and social interactions, okay? If you don't understand that anything negative you say about Diego is just going to reflect, it's like you're throwing it at him, it's going to bounce right off him and stick to your forehead.
Oh, I was going to say, well, the complaints online with it are usually that when you're doing the body hardening, it's not done towards the head. So I think it had more to do with them being concerned that he already had CTE and then getting smacked in the head versus the body hardening. Yeah. So, I mean, Conor McGregor is really well known for doing the body hardening, and he does some dumbass shit.
There you go. So the reality is, okay, that's beautiful for McGregor to say, but he also just got knocked the fuck out.
Okay, the more negative you talk about him, the worse it looks for you. And he literally could not have done a worse job for himself if he tried.
I'm trying to express how I feel about what has happened in my time of 2 years of being slandered in the UFC, working for a guy that falsely represented himself as a regular person. As I get to more information as I'm with the lawyer, and the lawyer talks to Diego and asks Diego about his education, and he starts talking about he was in special education. Holy shit, huge red flags, man.
Like, I'm just going to say these. I mean, I don't want to like perpetuate the stuff that he said, but in all honesty, I don't doubt that it's true. If it wasn't already out there publicly, I probably wouldn't say it. This is not stuff that I would, blow up. I make fun of stuff that deserves making fun of. This is not the kind of thing I would normally make fun of, but it's relevant in this because it's just relevant. So right out of the gate, he's like, I don't think, he's like, listen, man, he's like, there were some things when I first started with Diego should have been big red flags. And I was like, and that's a red flag that you are going to go the wrong direction on this interview. He's like, things like, I don't know, he bought like a 1-bedroom apartment. Like he lives in like a 1-bedroom apartment and he's got kids. It's like, what are you doing, bro? It's like, I would say he's probably doing what a person who's going through a divorce would do, right? Like most likely, right? If his wife has full custody of the kids, my guess is he's doing what everyone would do, but that's fine. Use that, paint him with the bad dad brush right out of the gate. And then he's like, he's driving around like a $3,000 Mercedes. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, wow, gee. And he's saying that he's just frugal. Okay. That should have been a red flag, that he doesn't drive an expensive car. Okay, cool. But then he really starts digging in later, right? He says that Diego is special needs. He said that he was in special education growing up. What the fuck does that have to do with anything, right? Like seriously, what does that have to do with anything? Okay, yeah, he was in special ed. He did steroids in high school. At the end, he's literally just throwing any piece of shit that he can get. He's like, what else did he do? Throwing it at Diego, and he doesn't realize it's just like, you may as well just be going on your own face.
And Diego is not anywhere near what anybody knows, man. And Diego has been an addict. He hadn't told anybody for the past 5 months. I was his sponsor, living with him, that I had to live there because he was broke and lost all his money and strung out on kratom and alcohol and 30 other substances, that he has sexual abuse issues. No, he didn't say any of that, man. And I've been holding up all this. I've been doing everything, and everybody's coming at me.
Then what about the belief?
Understand why he...
So we have about
there. I'll put out all the proof. I got all the proof. I'll put out all the video, man.
We have about 2 minutes. We have about 2 minutes left. The biggest concern and the public perception is that you were taking advantage of Diego. You were taking the money, that he has CTE, and you were taking advantage of someone.
Diego has clearly been taking advantage of me for 2 years, as I have been fighting for him and putting myself on the line for him with zero benefit.
You did steroids in high school?
Listen, we're in New Mexico, and if you're special needs in New Mexico, they just push you through school. So let me tell you another secret that Diego Sanchez didn't really want anybody to know. So Diego took steroids in high school to win the high school state wrestling.
Here's his wife is dirt. He says that, like, oh my God, man. He said that he's a drug addict. He said that he's an alcoholic. He said that, he's not what you think, man. Like, I don't think people realize I was his sponsor, man. Like, I'm living with him. I'm his sponsor. He's a drug addict. He's addicted to kratom. He's an alcoholic. He's, it's like, bro, do you understand? You were his sponsor, and now you just blew him up on a podcast about being an addict? Do you understand how shit that is? Like, how fucking terrible that makes you look? Yeah, I was a sponsor, bro. Okay, so, whatever you think about people who are addicts, okay, which clearly you don't really understand, but a lot of people do, okay? Like, a lot of people do. And an addict, or anyone who even understands that world at all, who hears a guy's sponsor, admit he's a guy's sponsor and then blow him up online, they're like, oh, so that guy's the biggest piece of shit on earth. Like, literally, you're the biggest piece of shit on earth. Okay? A sponsor is supposed to be your ultimate confidant, right? Like the only person that you can tell the truth to, like really tell the truth, where you're like, look, dude, like, I fucked up, right? Like, I really fucked up. I had this thing under control last weekend. This happened, that happened. I lost control, dude. Like, and I'm chipping. Like, I need to get this shit under control. Your sponsor is your fucking guy or girl, right? So for a sponsor to go on a podcast and be like, yeah, I was a sponsor, and guess what? He's a total fuck up. He's a complete and total fuck up, man. He's addicted to kratom, He's an alcoholic. You guys don't get it, man. He's got serious fucking problems, bro. You're like, yeah, you have serious problems, bro, okay? You have just demonstrated you are a piece of shit, okay? So he did all that, right? Then and I'm mixing up where these are in the order, but again, I commend the host of this podcast, because every time he would say, she wouldn't even let him do that very much. She's like, look, guy, just fucking save it. But one of the other things that he talked about, he's talking about the medical records, right? And that was very telling, right? Because he's talking through this whole medical records thing. And he's like, I just need you guys to understand the way that I perceive this. And you're like, dude, even all of these things, let me show you this video that I took and look at these guys. And you're like, no, I agree with them, dude. He's like, I just need you to understand how I perceive this. He's telling the story from his perspective. And you're sitting there like, yeah, no, I'm on their side, dude. Like, sorry, like, you're even your own fucking story, you're indicting yourself. Okay. So he's talking about how he needs to go get the medical records. And again, the host is like, okay, look, you understand you can just ask this person for it and they'll give it. And he's like, well, no, UFC's giving me runaround. They've got records. They should be able to just give it. She's like, they wouldn't tell us where to go. She's like, I could literally tell you in 1 second where you could have gone to get those. Okay. So, but the whole thing with the medical records was, there's one thing that he said, one thing which should have been his entire fucking podcast if he had 5 brain cells to rub together. Okay. The one accusation that he actually made against UFC that would have mattered, unlike all the nonsense, is he said that Diego's wife had written to the UFC a year before Fabia came on and said she's very concerned about Diego's mental health. Okay. She's concerned about him, whatever. Like that's, and I'm not going to embellish anymore. That's what I remember him saying definitively. If I have no idea if it's true, okay? Matter of fact, it's probably fucking not true, given this guy's credibility. But that is the direct accusation that he made, which is the only one that actually fucking matters, if it was true. He said that Diego's wife wrote to the UFC, very, very concerned about Diego's mental health, declining mental health, whatever, okay? Again, if that's true, that's a legitimate accusation, okay? Who knows if it's actually true? It's probably not. But so his whole thing was, he's like, I didn't even know about that when I took him on. Like, all this stuff, he's painting it all. I wouldn't have even taken him on as a client if I would have known that he was special ed, and a drug addict. And you're like, I thought you were his sponsor. Like, you wouldn't have taken him on if you knew he was a drug addict. I thought you were a sponsor. So sounds like you fucking knew, And he's like, all these fucking problems, dude. All these problems. I heard from Diego and you that the reason you came on is because he had these problems and you were going to help him. So pick a side, you fucking snake backstabbing pussy. You know what I mean? So anyway, about the medical records, he keeps hammering everybody. And then it turns out that they're actually making, the medical records thing is happening around him.
Now this separation, which is due to me leaving Diego because of me finding out new information. The UFC has not sent us any of that, and that's...
They don't...
Didn't the lawyer say that he's not responsible for that? I thought that he had to go through different...
Just, Summer, let me explain. They don't want to give Diego any of the contact information to resource that, so making it easily. So what I can give that to you in 2 seconds. It's in the process of trying to get it from his ex-wife that Diego's saying he didn't even know she had it, which was all news to everybody. Diego's in conversation with her, asking for it, and she says, oh, you can have the lawyer ask for it. And that threw up some red flags. So I then am talking with Diego while he's texting her, and I said, type this, please. Let me see it. And I wrote, so for the record, you're not going to release my medical records. And
why couldn't Diego get it himself, though? That's the thing. If it's his own body.
Exactly. This is the UFC running this game, but
the UFC doesn't have access to that.
Read it then. So I'm
not reading that on air.
This point of where this email is sent to the UFC talking about Diego's mental instability in 2018. I did not start working with or working for Diego till 2019 in May. So by this time, I end up being the person associated to all this crazy, as the UFC did not do anything for him, offer him any services, as his wife is saying, we're so concerned. And then, as Diego is having mismatched
What was that defining moment? Because I'm sure it wasn't over medical records. You guys have been arguing about medical records now for the last year. What was this split over?
Do you not? Hold on. So I'm trying to explain my perception, and my perception of things is one thing at one time. Now, all of a sudden, I find out that your ex-wife is talking personally to Dana White, Sean Shelby, Hunter, about your medical stuff, and nobody's told me anything. Nobody's warned me, said Diego's anything. And so what is now the feeling?
Okay, so I'm gonna cut this. This is minutia.
Right, between Diego's wife, Diego, and the UFC, and no one's telling me anything. You're like, why would anyone tell you anything, you fucking idiot? You're his coach. She's his wife. He's him, okay? So you got the UFC, the organization he works for. You have the doctors, right, that have seen him in the athletic board. You have his fucking wife, and you have him, and then you have you, the coach, okay? Out of which person doesn't fit, dude, okay? As it relates to Diego Sanchez's medical records, right? Which person is the odd man out? The doctor, the organization, the wife, the actual person, or the fucking weasel coach. Okay, obviously you don't fit. So the whole thing, like, and then I found out, they're sending the medical records to her, and they're sending them to Diego, and no one's telling me anything. It's like, Jesus, bro, you are fucking delusional. Okay, you have no, like, of course no one's telling you anything. Why the fuck would they tell you anything? What possible, what benefit could you add? Like, why would anyone tell you anything? It's the stupidest thing ever. Like, John Jones' wife is like, yeah, I really need to see his medical records. I'm concerned about John. John's all, yeah, give him to my wife. And then, they do all that, and then fucking, Greg Jackson's all, no one's telling me anything about these medical records. What the hell's going on? I mean, come on, guys. You got to understand from my perspective. No one's telling me what's happening. Okay, no one's telling you what's happening, Josh, because you have no position here. You have no value. You are not a person that fucking matters in this equation. Okay, only in your mind does the fact that no one's telling you make any sense. So yeah, so he's self-aggrandizing, completely delusional about his own position. He threw Diego under the bus 100 different ways. He made a ludicrous accusation against the Nevada State Athletic Commission, which I assume they're going to sue him over now, which I would. Not that he has any money to fucking make, but at the very least, you can get him to shut the fuck up and stop making made up fucking accusations. And yeah, he's just overall delusional. So, like I said, first 7 minutes, I felt guilty about having been so mean. I was like, man, he's actually kind of a smart guy. He presents real well. As long as you're just listening to him kind of go, hey, yeah, hey, thanks, thanks a lot for giving me the time to explain myself. And then you're like, okay, go ahead and explain yourself. And he's like, and I'm going to shit all over everybody and make myself look like a fucking weasel, backstabbing, disloyal asshole. So, yeah, listen, man. I'm probably forgetting 8 things he said about Diego. Just think of any way you could throw a guy under the bus and talk shit about a guy who you supposedly, were loyal to. I mean, he couldn't have done a better job of just obliterating any idea that anyone had of maybe Josh is not really the bad guy in this thing. He took that and lit it all on fucking fire, okay? Anyway, that's what I got. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. Peace.
I don't know of any family members he's ever disowned. I don't know any of that.
Okay.
The matter of fact,
so that's spin. That's spin in the media.
When you were talking about this moment, it was because it was feeling like I was going to be between him and his mother, and I'm not going to do that. And that's one of the big red flags. That and that Diego is probably special needs. He needed to be properly cognitively studied.